led by Group CEO Tavona Biza. President Mutharika said the discussions focused on policy frameworks and the strategic direction of the partnership. The president emphasized the importance of the private sector's role in national development, describing their involvement as commendable.
We have agreed on the framework of where we are going to go and what we are agreed about. I think we're on the same page. And our people will be working the coming, several days and weeks coming. They're working on the details of how to put all this into implement this. And we agree that time is of the essence, that we need to move to repair this country. It's broken. To repair this country. You have seen the roads. I don't know if you are driven out of Blantyre, but the roads are in bad shape. They're embarrassing. We've got to rebuild all these roads, which have not been repaired since 2022. We need to rebuild these roads and other structures, public structures, and also the economy in general. We need to rebuild the economy.
President Mutharika reaffirmed that his administration is open to public-private partnerships and encouraged other investors to explore opportunities in Malawi, citing the conducive environment he has established to ensure mutual benefits. In response, Old Mutual Group CEO Tavona Biza confirmed that the financial giant is prepared to begin its investments in the tourism, infrastructure and mining sectors.
We had conversations around how we in the private sector, particularly in the insurance and pension space, can help with infrastructure building. And in some of the more interesting topics in this country at the moment, which are around the mining sector, the tourism sector, and how we can help in terms of even forex generation with respect to the country. So we had some ideas and some thoughts that we had, and we've also received some guidance in terms of what are the areas in which government is most interested in and is looking at in both the short to the medium and to the long term.
President Mutharika is meeting with investors and diplomatic partners to explore investment opportunities for the benefit of Malawians.
The 2025 Global Hunger Index GHI report shows Malawi's hunger levels have slightly improved from alarming to serious over the past 25 years. The report, launched in Lilongwe, shows that the country's GHI score improved from 43.3 in 2000 to 22.0 in 2025. Details in this report by Austin Fukula.
The report also indicated that 21.4% of the population remains undernourished. Child stunting stands at 33.2%, and 2.8% of children suffer from waist to low weight from height. Principal Secretary for Administration in the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development, Bennett Nkasala, said over-dependence on maize is driving food insecurity. He said the government is therefore championing diversification among farmers as a means of improving food security in the country.
As government, what we are trying to do is to promote, irrigated farming at a large scale. We are also trying to promote adoption of new technologies in terms of seeds. We are looking at quick maturing seeds, seed varieties, and we are also promoting, use of smart agriculture.
The report presented by World Hunger Hive recommends the operationalization of the existing food policies, diversification and building resilient food systems, and investing in technology to break the cycle of hunger caused by climate shocks. One of the partners for World Hunger Hive is Cycle for Integrated Community Development, CICOD, whose executive director is Amos Tizora.
I think, as you have seen from reports at different levels, I think we needed to increase issues around coordination, sharing a lot of information, both globally, locally, and even nationally, from different sectors. And we are also recommending that I think we need to involve private sector more.
Overall, the Global Hunger Index report shows that 56 countries are at risk of failing to eradicate zero hunger by 2030. The situation is worse in some African countries south of the Sahara and South Asia. Austin Fukura, MBC News, Lilongwe.
ADMAC Limited says it will, between April and May, roll out mass purchasing of farm produce from farmers across the country following the Ministry of Agriculture's announcement of farm gate prices last week. Chief Executive Officer for ADMAC Limited, Ben Bodolo, disclosed the plans to MBC in an interview and said it will start buying the farm produce in phases. Gisomo Breg reports.
ADMAC Chief Executive Officer Ben Bodolo says the announced prices are making business sense and the state-owned grain trader is more than geared up to go on the market to compete with other traders.
We are very ready as we were yesterday. We're just waiting for this piece of information from gate prices. The prices are really, we look at that flow of those prices, the flow, very exciting. And as ADMAC, we have already sensitized our farmers, our buyers, as ADMAC, to ensure that once the money, we give them the money, then they should start buying immediately. So we'll buy as soon as possible. We're just getting one or two things, logistics, to sort out. We'll be in the field buying farm produce.
The ADMAC CEO further stressed that ADMAC will purchase more pigeon peas to complement its dal production for export market in countries such as India and Dubai.
The good news is that we already have our colleagues like HMS who are already processing dal, selling internally and selling outside, exporting. We'll just have to link and talk to them and say how can we work together in terms of conquering the market outside Malawi. Nandolo, yeah, this is the dal, Nandolo, Chipere. So this product is grown basically in the Palombe area, some parts of Mulanje, Chirazuru, if you look at Baraka, Liwonde, some areas in Central Region as well. It has got potential to change the economic landscape of the country. We have been crying quite a lot for some time. We don't have forex, and we have been relying considerably on the tobacco. Tobacco is almost like a dying crop, as you can see. So we need to have replacement, which crops can substitute. Dal is one of them.
On Tuesday this week, the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development released minimum farm gate prices for strategic crops for the 2025-2026 agricultural season, a benchmark for buyers to adhere to when purchasing produce from local farmers. The statement further stated that the prices were meant to protect farmers from exploitation while ensuring fair returns on their produce. Gisomo Brek, MBC News, Blantyre.
Non-governmental organizations in the agriculture sector have been challenged to create more training opportunities for the young graduates as a way of expanding the government's internship programs. Executive Director for Action for Sustainable Development, ASUD, a local non-governmental organization working in the agricultural sector, Thomas Ngwira, told MBC during a visit to its Center for Innovation and Climate Smart Farming that government depends on stakeholder support to accomplish its goals. He then called upon stakeholders in the sector to lobby for more funding from partners to implement projects that can transform their beneficiary communities. Ngwira gives the details to our reporter Grant Mhango.
Another area we're looking at this place is training the young graduates, the internees that come are learned from here. They learned in school so many things in class, but they lack where they can see actual things happening. Now, remember that if someone graduates from the university or graduates from the college, we should expect such young people to become program managers, to become program designers, to become productive. But that productivity starts with knowledge, starts with practical skills. So at this place, such young people come here and learn. When they go back to their places, they know what they're talking about. If they're documenters, they're able to document a real life situation. And if the donors would like to read the proposals, the papers, they have higher chances of winning funding because they better write, they write excellent papers after visiting this place. Therefore, we are inviting youngsters to come. This is a place where there's a center for wisdom, center of knowledge. If you want to become rich in the brain, this is the right place to come and partner with. Once you graduate from the university, the next thing you need to do is to think, how does this degree, how does this diploma turns into money? That's where there's an issue.
The Constitutional Court sitting in Blantyre has rejected an application by domestic workers who are seeking a review of the country's pension laws to benefit them and have clear guidelines regarding their employment conditions. 3 judges, Jack Niva, Chimumwega Moa, and Alan Muhome, delivered the ruling yesterday on 16 April 2026, stating that the country's laws are consistent with the current state of the national economy. Among other things, the court stated that the country's labor laws are valid and non-discriminatory within a democratic system of governance. The lawyer representing the applicants, Stephen Imponda, said they have accepted the ruling but will take time to review the judgment.
We have heard the judgment of the court, but as a lawyer, and also as representatives of our clients, I would say that we're waiting for the perfected copy and also to analyze the judgment. We'll revert to our clients to explain what the judgment says, and then we'll hear from our clients on our way forward from here.
Meanwhile, Crispin Galusa is one of the lawyers representing the government and said he is pleased with the decision.
Obviously, we have welcomed the decision that has been made by the court today. We believe that it's a decision that aligns and also reflects with the prevailing economic situation of our country. We submitted to the court that the exclusion made by those particular provisions is justified under Section 44 of the Constitution, which provides for the limitation of constitutional rights. That was our submission in our defense.
This is MBC News, a reminder of our top stories. Professor President Mutharika commends Old Mutual Malawi for its commitment to investing in key sectors, including mining, road infrastructure, and tourism. The Constitutional Court in Blantyre rejects an application by domestic workers seeking a review of the country's pension laws to benefit them. Traditional leaders across the country have been urged to take a leading role in advancing initiatives that promote food security within their communities. Moving on, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Information and Communications Technology, Harold Msusa, says that the government is committed to creating an enabling environment for Malawian content creators to start earning from their work on digital platforms. Msusa made the remarks in Lilongwe during an engagement meeting between Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, MACRA, and officials from Meta platforms alongside local content creators. Miriam Gariza reports.
After years of being locked out of global platform earnings, Malawian content creators may finally be on the brink of monetization. Meta has held its first ever engagement with local creators, signaling a potential shift toward inclusion of smaller African markets in the global digital economy. Speaking at the meeting, Msusa said government has tasked MACRA to facilitate monetization process within a year, emphasizing the need for collaboration among all stakeholders to ensure progress.
We don't have good regulations, we don't have good policy. What we're going to do is to expedite. That's what I said in there, that the Ministry of Information with other partners and other MDAs, Ministry of Youth and all that, we are going to create a quick task force that will be given timelines and in order to expedite all this. What we also want to do is to bring in people even from other sectors, the content creators themselves, banks and other private entities that can help us as government to expedite this process and be able to make this dream into a reality.
MACRA Director General Mayamigo Nkoloma says the authority has already opened discussions with Meta, TikTok and other regulators within the Southern African Development Community to address barriers to monetization. He adds that Malawi may also pursue regional solutions through SADC where necessary.
We have strategies on how we can ensure that we pass this bridge. There are a number of important items. Meta looks at regulatory policies, what kind of regulatory policies are in place. We also need to ensure that we have a seamless digital payment platform in the country, because by the end of the day, we need these content creators either to receive money or also maybe because money definitely comes from adverts. So these ads companies could be within the country or could be outside the country. So there has to be a seamless digital payment platform to ensure that this works. So as a regulator, we've put up a task force, and this task force is being also supported by UNDP. And I also need to make it a point that UNDP has put up a commitment to assist us in ensuring that we have all the framework, a working framework, all the pieces of the puzzle that needs to ensure that these works are in place.
Meanwhile, Meta's head of public policy for Southern Africa, Thabo Makenete, says key requirements for content monetization include reliable internet connectivity, efficient payment systems, and clear regulatory frameworks. Makenete adds that content must also meet advertising standards, being engaging, informative, consistent, and compliant with community guidelines. One of the content creators, Mavis Maigwa of Travel with Mavis, has called on MACRA to intensify engagement with marketers to unlock opportunities for local creators.
Key to MACRA is to work with marketers, people who put marketing billboards out there, to maybe consider digital marketing, because what I've heard in the meeting is that if digital marketers actually do push for, if marketers do push for digital marketing, then Malawi as a country will have higher chances of monetizing, because that is how they determine a country to get monetized. So the more marketers promote their businesses, they market digitally, the more that content creators will benefit from that arrangement. So MACRA needs to sit down and, I guess, provide awareness to marketers that, come on, we're moving with times, so should you.
However, another creator, Kevin Before Gumbi of Nyali Music, says while there is hope, monetization may not happen immediately, urging creators to remain patient.
They're saying they are not promising anything still, which means as Malawians right now, all we have is their word. They're the ones to determine whether we're going to be monetized or not. But as it looks from the meeting, all I've heard is it will take time. So how long, we don't know. I like what the government has said. I think the representative from the PS has said that they're giving MACRA 1 year to make sure that all the processes are set, are done, so that we can move forward.
If successful, this could mark the beginning of a new era where Malawian creativity not only reaches the world, but pays. Miriam Kaliza, MBC News, Lilongwe.
As MACRA intensifies the preparations for the inaugural National ICT Innovation Awards slated for 21 April, FDH Bank has made a contribution of 15 million kwacha towards the event. The event aims to recognize and promote thinkers to pitch their ideas that can be developed into solutions. Presenting the contribution on behalf of FDH Bank, Kawawa Msabato, the head of corporate and institutional banking at FDH, said the bank believes in empowering locals to develop homegrown digital solutions in various sectors such as climate, agriculture, health, finance, and education, among others.
Why we're interested in this is because we believe that the future is digital. So many problems that we have in this country, I think the solutions can be derived from innovation. And we're looking at these awards as something that will trigger the innovators that are out there that maybe are lacking support and recognition. This now gives them a platform to come out, encourage that they share those ideas with the country out there, and also they look at what problems is the country facing and apply those solutions. So it's a platform that really encourages thinkers that are out there, but maybe they never had the adequate support to encourage them. And we believe that as a bank that is a local, it is also our interest to see that that spirit is fostered throughout the nation. We have people that are coming out with different innovations, different ideas. There are so many issues that we can apply this digital knowledge that can take this country forward in line with the vision that we are all working towards, which is Vision 2063.
For her part, Head of Finance at Makra, Mphatso Pidi, thanked FDH for sharing the vision of a digital future for Malawi by supporting the upcoming event.
We have received this timely contribution from FDH Bank indeed, and it is a very timely contribution. We have a very big activity coming whereby we are bringing together innovators. We had over 200 applications, and we have shortlisted to 20. And these 20, we are planning to have them showcase their ideas next week during the awards ceremony, whereby we'll come up with about 2 who will be given various prizes as well. So this is an opportunity for all these 20 to showcase, to show out there what they are capable of, the ideas that they have come up with. And these partners like FDH Bank that have come forward will help us to make sure that we set the environment for them to give to Malawi and to the world all over the ideas, so that they can be supported and nurtured with the hope that they will contribute not just today but to the future of the digital economy in Malawi.
Traditional leaders in the country have been urged to take a leading role in advancing initiatives that promote food security within their communities, such as modern farming methods. Village headman in Ndemanje made the call when MBC visited Ndemanje Irrigation Scheme, a thriving agricultural initiative where farmers have transformed crop production into a sustainable business venture. Ruth Jinangwa reports.
Established in 2001, Ndemanje Irrigation Scheme supports the cultivation of a variety of crops, including maize, tomatoes, onions, chilies, and bananas. Farmers at the scheme have embraced irrigation farming as a dependable alternative to rain-fed agriculture, enabling them to grow crops throughout the year and reduce vulnerability to erratic weather patterns. Speaking in an interview with MBC, village headman Ndemanje emphasized the critical role local leaders must play in driving agricultural transformation.
As leaders, we must take the initiative and encourage our people to utilize available resources, such as irrigation schemes, to boost food production. This is the reason why I'm calling upon my fellow traditional leaders to emulate the gesture. And believe me, hunger will be history in this country.
One of the farmers, Harry Salema, says transitioning from subsistence to commercial farming has greatly improved his livelihood.
After seeing what is happening, now I asked the chief, the village headman, can I get the land here? Then he instructed me where to go to buy the land. After buying the land, then I opened it. I started it and trying to plant some seeds. Mostly different seeds like maize, sugarcane, bananas. I have there in my garden.
A representative of the Village Development Committee, VDC, Leonard Namamba, also commends the initiative, noting it has positive impact on the local economy.
The irrigation scheme has brought a shift in as far as economic activities are concerned. Traders come to buy different crops here.
Agriculture expert Leonard Chimwaza say irrigation farming is essential in building resilience against climate change, which continues to disrupt rainfall patterns across the country.
For the betterment of realizing good process, it is important to employ a multi-sectoral approach whereby technicians from the environmental department, the agriculture department, even the forestry department to come together so that as the farmers in the communities are engaging themselves in small-scale irrigation, they need also to take into consideration the environmental aspects. They need to take care of the environment. They need to desist from cultivating along the river banks. They need to observe the 10 meters buffer strip. So by doing so, then the irrigation, what it means is that the irrigation farming has been done sustainably.
The success of Ndemanje irrigation scheme serves as a strong example for other communities that, with effective leadership, innovation, and commitment, attaining food security is achievable. Ruth Chinangwa, MBC News, Blantyre.
In international news, South African opposition politician Julius Malema has been sentenced to 5 years in prison after being found guilty of the illegal possession of a gun and firing it in public. Malema's lawyer said he would be appealing against the decision to prevent the leader of the economic freedom fighters from being taken to prison. Details in this report.
Supporters, many from economic freedom fighters, EFF, gathered outside South Africa's East London court, holding placards expressing their support for their leader. The length of the sentence could see the 45-year-old being disqualified as a member of parliament. Convicted of 5 offences, including the unlawful possession of a firearm and ammunition, discharging it in public space, and reckless endangerment, among others. The state had been seeking a 15-year sentence in connection with Malema's firearm discharge case linked to the EFF 50th birthday celebrations in 2018. In disclosing arguments, State Prosecutor Joe Caesar said Malema showed lack of remorse. However, defense advocate argued the findings were distorted. The EFF has called the case a witch hunt and claims it's an attack on the poor and marginalized. Some analysts believe the sentence could be a major setback for Malema's political career. On the other hand, groups like AfriForum welcome the court's ruling, stating it confirms Malema's incitement of violence against minorities. Tosin Magombo, MBC News.
Well, that item also concludes this edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories before we leave. Professor President Mutharika commends Old Mutual Malawi for its commitment to investing in key sectors, including mining, road infrastructure, and tourism. The Constitutional Court in Blantyre rejects an application by domestic workers seeking a review of the country's pension laws to benefit them. Traditional leaders across the country have been urged to take a leading role in advancing initiatives that promote food security within their communities. Scan the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen to get our news updates. You've been with me, Romeo Omari. Thanks for watching and good morning.